I've been practicing HIT pretty much since I started lifting, which is around 20 years, and I'm nearly 60 now. So almost 40 years I've been using myself, and then later on training other people, from variety of different people, from ladies that wanted to shape up and lose weight, professional athletes, professional bodybuilders, so a whole wide range of people that I've used the methods on and refined it over the years. I learned the method really from reading books by Arthur Jones, and then there was Mike Menser, who was Mr. Universe, who kind of was using the methods as well. And I took the principles which already existed and refined them by studying on myself, keeping records, keeping a diary, which I think is very, very useful, so you can see the feedback, what happens if you train a little bit more frequently or less frequency or doing more volume and so on. So over the years, I've refined it to a method that can work for everybody with a little variance. Of course, we're all individuals with different capacities, so we have to vary it to the individual, but the principles remain the same. So that's how I got the information, because there were, in the beginning, there was no internet. Now you have internet, you have almost too much information, and it can be confusing for people. And also you've got a lot of so many so-called experts on the internet with really no credentials, no experience, that are calling themselves coaches and trainers and making a living, but really having no background in order to do that. So you have to be careful with the information these days and decipher, because almost too much, as I say. In professional bodybuilding circles, when I was competing, I was known as the game changer. That was because I brought a new level of muscularity, size and condition to professional bodybuilding. And I did that by training average 45 minutes, 4 times a week, where many of my competitors were training 2 or 3 hours a day, around 6 days a week. So I proved that this method is more efficient. You get better results in a shorter period of time. And I believe I got the most out of my potential, where maybe some of my other competitors didn't, because they were spending too long in the gym and not following the principles of high-intensity training. So the first pillar of the HIT training is the intensity of the training. Second is the recovery. Third is the overcompensation. So there's a little story, an analogy that I use often in seminars, and it's very simplistic, but I think it gets the point across. So muscle growth is an adaptation to a stress. So you put an unusual stress on your body, in this case on the muscular system, in order to get a reaction. So the analogy is, let's say you have some sandpaper and you rub it on your palm until you break the skin and it's red and it's bleeding a little bit. If you allow that enough time for that to recover, then the skin in the end will be a little thicker, a little harder. You'll get calluses on your hand, like I have from lifting all the weights over the years. But let's say that you didn't allow enough time. First of all, you don't quite allow enough time for recovery for that to heal, and you rub it again, you're really not going to get anywhere. You're just going to get some sore hands. So it's very simplistic, but it gets the point across. Another example is going out in the sun. Your body perceives a stress from the sun, so your skin will produce more melanin, make your skin a little darker to try to protect from the sun in the future. So that's basically what's happening with muscle growth. Your body senses that it's receiving a stress that it's not used to. Then it needs to recover from that stress and overcompensate to kind of protect itself in the future. So it's very important that you pass a certain threshold of effort or intensity, because if you're working within a zone of comfort, the body has no reason to react. The body always trying to keep the status quo. So you need a stress in order to recover. You need to be able to recover from that stress. So those are the pillars of the HIT training. Apart from the obvious physical benefits you get of doing weight training, high intensity training, there are other benefits. You're going to learn to be consistent, you're going to learn discipline, and these can apply to really any other areas of your life. You need to have focus, you need to have discipline to succeed in anything, to succeed in business, in a relationship, anything in your life. This is going to make you a more positive and confident person, because you're going to face challenges in the gym and you're going to overcome the challenges, and then other challenges in life are going to seem easier. So you're going to get more than a physical benefit from the training system. Okay, so everybody has genetically weaker and stronger body parts. For me, when I started training, the body parts that came easier were my calves, lats and back were fairly easy, but my weak body parts were pecs and biceps. So I really had to look into what were the most efficient exercises for me, what worked, and I found it depends on your structure. For me, the best pec exercises were a low decline press, low incline, not extreme angles, and dumbbell flies. So those were the best exercises for me. For some people, flat bench press works very well, but for myself, it was putting a lot of strain on my front deltoids and pec tendons, and I didn't think it was very efficient for the pecs. So you have to experiment. It depends on your structure, which exercises are going to work for you. But definitely you need to do some compound exercise, so a multi-joint exercise pressing movement, which I prefer to use barbells for that, or machines, and then some isolation exercise, for instance, dumbbell fly or cable crossover, where you're working around one joint, and my preference there is to use dumbbells for dumbbell flies. So those were the exercises that worked for me the best. But again, you need to experiment a little bit with the exercises, and any body part that's weak or lagging behind, the answer is not to train it more frequently or do more exercises or more sets or more reps. It's to do with more focus. So do it first in your workout rather than later on, and use techniques to increase the intensity of the workout. So slow down the negatives. If you've got a training partner that can help you with 1 or 2 forced reps at the end, that's also good. If you do an exercise on a machine, when you reach failure on the positive, you can get somebody to lift it into the end position and lower it down again for a couple of more negatives. And then you've got stronger body parts. In order to keep balance, you don't use so much intensity on those body parts. Maybe you just go to the point of failure and you don't go beyond that. So that's what I would recommend if your pecs or any other body part are lagging behind. You need to put emphasis on them.